Upside down. Perfect. So, you guys all see me in the back, right? I'm orange, red, and yellow. So, blue and black should be all the way around me. And that's because I'm the warmest thing in the picture. We're looking for those blue and black spots to kind of move on their own. Okay, so it would actually come across somebody that, you know, a person, or a living person rather. So, but it's gonna fluctuate based on whatever's inside the screen. If you take me out, the orange, red, and yellow is gonna go somewhere else. I'm trying to keep my arm out of there. Everybody kind of get the gist of what we're looking for here? All right, so, Michael, I think it's gonna go to you, man.
I'll take it.
So,
I don't want to be there. My audio is going to be horrible.
So here's what I'm going to tell you.
You guys don't mind curse words once in a while.
Hang on.
Sorry.
Try to keep it horizontal just like that for a sec.
Yes, sir.
Throughout the rest of the night, because YouTube does not like the flippies. And I start with YouTube and then send it back to my website. The orange square you have on your left-hand side of your screen, that means it's recording. If it turns to a circle, let me know.
Yes, sir.
And that means I have to splice some video together so you guys can enjoy one video instead of multiples, trying to figure out what goes where.
Yes, sir.
So, but yeah, we're going to go more into detail on that. Everybody notice the white dots on the back of his device? So you guys are all going to have little white Velcro dots on the back of your devices. I have a show this weekend at a flea market, and it's kind of part of the presentation, so try not to peel those off if you can. So I have more, but just wanted to give that heated warning. It doesn't make the devices go off or go crazy or anything like that. All right, so we're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes. Spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. This one specifically goes through, oh, look at her jumping already. So this one specifically is going to sweep through FM radio stations at a quick rate. How does this thing actually work? It's just going to flip through all of them real fast. On TV, it's that white static noise that they give you, and then the host tells you what he thinks he heard in the middle of it. Okay? It's all TV. That most of that stuff's fake. We're going to be doing this stuff in real time. So the cool thing about this one is that it's going to record the entire session for us. Just the radio sweeps, even when it's on mute. So when I get it set up, I'll turn it on so you guys can hear what it sounds like, and then kind of give you a big gist of what it's actually going to do.
Breathe.
Now mine is set up a little slower than TV. I want the radio chatter to come through. A little bit of song lyrics or a DJ or a commercial. It's those little tidbits that are going to come through that might make some sense of the location of where we are, a person I'm talking about, or something going on with one of us. So again, that's why I kind of ask for everybody's names. Alright, so it's already recording. So as you can see, it's sweeping through the FM radio stations. I haven't heard anything yet, but I don't want to stand here and just wait, because that's what this whole device is. It's a waiting game. So I think this is going to go to you, because you haven't said a word yet, and I need you to speak up. Okay. So you have one button. There's a little volume button at the top. Obviously, when I'm talking and telling stories, you'll keep it down because it's recording for us anyway. And then I'll always say spirit boxes up, because we're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight.
Got it.
Your back of your neck is on fire.
Oh my.
You're a little weird. All you guys can hear is breathing.
Alright, so we're going to stick with spirit boxes for just a minute, because we all know how they work, at least. This one does the exact same things that his does, only it doesn't record. So we kind of have to rely on two people to verify each other. So the two giggly ones over here, they're the ones that are going to get this guy. So it's already sweeping. However, the only button you guys need to worry about is on the side of the speaker. Hold it down, turn the volume down, hold it up, turn the volume up. So you can see that it's flipping through the stations. Same thing when I'm talking, I'm going to keep it down. So the two of you will have to kind of work together on that one. You got it. Perfect. Buddy system.
Right, buddy.
Alright. The third spirit box we're going to be using is a little different. It is a phone app. So here's what I'm going to tell you about the phone. The phone app basically gives us a word in the center of the screen from time to time. Okay? Now, it's going to save all those words to a list. So last night's terms, they actually had 94, which is really, really high. I'm going to clear them out because they already have their list. Here's what I'm going to tell you about this. 80% of what comes up on this guy doesn't mean a damn thing. So it's the other 5 to 20% that might be relevant to the location, a person I'm talking about, or something going on with one of us. So again, always when I find something that's relevant to one of those three things, I'll always put it in bold, and I'll give you the reason why and a possible backlink if it's something in history. Does that make sense, everybody? Vague words, I don't care about. again, I'm not here to make things up for you guys. So the first word you guys are going to have on your list is befriend. Oh, maybe not. Looks like I erased it. So the next word that pops up will be the very first word. This one's going to go to you, Alex. So I kind of like to spread the spirit boxes around. Alright, spirit boxes are all out. Let's go into... What do I got left here? So you guys are good. This that corner's good. You three and you, right? Alright, so... I'm trying to think here. How do I want to go about doing this?
It's like you're filming a YouTube video for Kansas baseball games.
Literally a whole bag full of goodies here.
What are you doing?
Alright, EMF meters. So these are pretty common on your TV shows as well. They measure 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. First one's natural, comes from the earth, that's why it's not doing anything. The second one is going to be from electronic devices. It's going to make it go into a rhythm or a pulse. I don't want that either. I want this thing to go crazy. When the lights start going and flashing all over and I can't make a rhythm out of it, I'm still going to try to debunk that something might be nearby. That's a man-made object. So, with that being said, you just need to let us know when that thing's going nuts. Just watch the lights. Easy enough? That's perfect, because you don't have to do anything.
Hold that for me.
No.
Alright. She's not doing anything on purpose. Nope, she's going to have a job too.
You have to carry your own weight.
Yep, you got to carry your own weight.
So,
Alright.
so you see how that's still going, the timer's going? That means it's on. If ever that like stops, you actually hit that.
Yeah,
that's when you
I'm
tell
recording
it.
everything right now. Alright, the neuralizer for Men in Black. If you're not a movie buff, that means I'm going to erase your memories. So none of you are going to remember a damn thing. This guy...
Men in Black.
Lasers. So what's cool about this guy is that we can't see the laser from the pen to the ground until something passes through it. Okay, so obviously my hand shows up with all those dots on there. What we're looking for, obviously, is something to pass through this thing pretty quickly. Okay, so we're going to have somebody with a camera, and then somebody's going to control the lasers. Lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble. They can't be pointed out, up, or anything like that. On the ground, up on a wall, possibly. That's as far as they go. No windows whatsoever. We use 2 of them, as I flash myself in the face. So, this one, what's so cool about this one, when we catch something here, I can put that picture or video in a 3D software, and you guys will have a full 3D view of the apparition that we caught. So, again, really cool stuff. We don't want to cross the streams, it'll just make you dizzy. So, I know, somebody got my Ghostbuster joke. Yep. Alright, he's going to go both to you. I put both lasers in the same pair of hands.
Whoa.
Hey, you're the one catching on.
Don't cross the streams.
And I don't normally hand this guy off to a teenager because they have no idea what it is. So, you're going to help take pictures.
A real camera.
A real camera. Now, there's no flash on this guy on purpose because I don't want any false positives. So, literally, the gist of you taking pictures with this guy, to get it back set to where it's supposed to be, is go ahead and point one of your lasers on the ground for me.
How do I do it?
There's one button right there, it's silver. There you go. So you're literally at about waist level, just going to shoot pictures through the laser. I know what they look like on the ground. I don't want those. I want to go through it. So in the event she misses something, we're going to have it. So take 2, 3, 4, 500 pictures. I don't care. I'm going to go through them all. You don't even need to look at it because you're going to probably miss it too. So we really just keep taking it.
Okay.
There's 2 buttons. Yep. So there's obviously the big button is to take a picture, and when the screen goes black, that means it's shut off.
Radio Station 101.
You got it.
Best jams.
Nice and easy.
Best jams.
Yeah.
Click it. Just
We're
like a
on
light switch.
3 for the first.
Got it?
I'm there now. So I'm just taking pictures of your laser.
Yep. Oh,
And your leg.
and legs.
This is
I see
our.
lots of legs.
That's where the ghosts are. Look how cold it is. That's
Last
the
but not
ghosts
least.
right there. They're on the thing. I'm carrying a ghost.
So, Christine over here is going to be kind of multitasking. Her device actually works 3 different locations, 3 different things. So the first thing it has is it has an EMF, I'm sorry, I'm losing names already. Paul, just like Paul. So it has, I'll teach you how to read that. It also has ambient temperature in case Mike actually, is it Mike or Michael?
Yep, perfect.
Yep, perfect. So Mike or Michael, we have ambient temperature in case you actually see something. We're still going to try to debunk it. But the cool thing about this particular device, it has a REM pod on it, which means it detects motion. So let me show you how that works real quick before we get rolling. And you have a lot of functions, so we're going to cover a lot of this. So the antenna detects motion because it's creating a field around as soon as it wants to calm down. Perfect. So everybody sees the green light on there? It's very sensitive, as you guys can see. Oh my goodness.
You're a ghost.
I know, right? So as something gets close to it and cuts through that field, it's going to make noises. So the closer it gets, the more it's going to make a noise. It's really annoying on the audio, so we keep that part off until we're actually ready for it, and I'm going to go over that with you in detail at our first location. The little flap on the end, just kind of keep that open because you're going to need it when
This is serious.
going through that. All right.
This ain't no joke serious.
What's that?
He said this is
You're serious.
Always. But we're going to have fun doing it. That's the whole
I didn't realize how serious you were until.
Oh, yeah. And he asked me if I believe in ghosts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, I feel stupid for that question, but no, you are serious.
Not at all. So again, here's what I cannot guarantee that we're actually going to experience anything. But in 2 years that I've been doing this tour, I've yet to have a night where I did not have something show up. So that's the only thing I can tell you. Your base, the expectation should be you're using devices you've never used before, or you're experimenting with things, and you're going to hear stories you can't hear on any other tour. That should be your base expectation. If we capture stuff, super great. I'm going to go through it. So, all right.
Let's roll.
We started here for a reason.
Oh.
This place is haunted.
Oh,
The building you're leaned on.
fantastic.
Of course it is. Come on. Would I just pick a random bar and say, let's meet? Of course I wouldn't. So this place used to be called Big John's Tavern. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. And he used to sit in the back of the bar, like right inside that window, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were of age or not. One night, two guys come in, they're not of age, so Big John tells the bartender to get him out of there. And he does. They leave pretty mad, but they come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees what's happening. They get into a little bar fight, of course, because it is a bar, and Big John's pretty big, because that's his name. And a couple shots were fired, and John gets hit in the neck, and the bullet ricochets and lands in the wall. So Big John gets up and goes back to the bar, and he tells the bartender to get him another beer and get the two guys on the floor in an ambulance. Now, he's the one who got shot, and nobody died. So what's haunting the place? The bullet hole. It's still here.
Wow.
So people that sit in the front of the bar get a little queasy, a little headache, nauseous, those kind of things. I bring this story up on purpose because I don't know how paranormal activity affects anybody until it actually does. If anybody feels any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately so we can move on pretty quickly. Do what we have to do. That's not anything, to be scary, but it has happened in the past. So I'll just say that. Let's get our minds off our own health, shall we? We had a big earthquake in 1886. That's happy, right? This allegedly is where the first death occurred from that earthquake. Why are earthquakes such a big deal in Charleston? Because we don't have them. So when we do have one, it's a big deal. A piece of the mantling broke off in the front of the building. Everybody loves to look up when I say that.
Yeah.
Especially when I point and say, look. Yeah. So, but that apparently kills somebody by striking him in the head. Do I have any proof of that? No. But it's a great story to get your minds off your own health. Are you guys tired of hearing me talk yet?
No?
Good, because we got at least another hour and a half of this. So let's go learn more about your devices. Let's go this way.
Panthers signed AJ Boye.
Who's that?
Wait, Patriots just signed him?
no.
Around here.
Okay. Oh, should I be up by him?
Oh, good. I think we just want to point at things that don't have a deep. Like, I think we just want to point at, like, buildings or, like, the trees.
Yeah, I've got to talk to him. What's his name? Nick?
I'm scared
I'm
for.
listening to the radio.
What's his name?
I don't know how to turn. I don't know how to turn my volume up. Dad, this whole thing is recording.
I can listen to the video, the audio while.
Wait, Cam, what's our tool?
Dude, AJ Boye was from the Jaguars, went to the Broncos. He's a Pro Bowler. He's good. He's good. He's washed, but he's
You're going
good.
to hear a little bit of music.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
I'll
music.
drink.
All right. I don't know yet. We're going to find out, hopefully. So, is that your phone underneath it? Or, okay. I'm like, she freaked me out like I had a double battery pack. So, All right, guys, so this is what I call the big red barn lot. You guys are gonna find out I love parking lots because that means we can spread out a little bit and explore. Okay, so they don't take you to just random parking lots either. Just so you know, they have historical significance. Well, first off, know that the horses are inside for your carriage rides. So
Good smell.
lasers, where are my lasers at?
Mom?
Oh,
So
right
there's
here.
absolutely no lasers on the barn. You can shut them off. We got a lot to talk about.
I whipped him out. I was
See that,
ready.
y'all? She's ready. So, and I'm from Ohio, and yes, I use the word y'all an awful lot. I've been living down here way too long. So the horses are inside, so we don't want to spook them. So spirit boxes that actually make noise, so that would be the three of you. Kind of keep them audible to yourselves only, or if you're listening in with somebody else, that's perfectly fine. We just don't want to spook the ponies. Okay, so, and obviously they're still working. I don't know why they're still working so late. They're usually gone by now. What time is it? 9:11. Oh, wow. Really, yeah. What time did I meet up with you guys? Okay. I don't usually watch the time. I don't really care. Whatever the evidence brings us, it brings us. So anyway, the history I have on this building, guys, is that this is the same red barn that held horses that delivered milk to Charleston. So whenever I'm telling you the history of a location, I'm going to emphasize key words, especially for the spirit boxes. So we're going to talk about spirit boxes for a second. This is not TV. This is not, is somebody here? Okay, because if somebody answers no, that means somebody's here. Okay, they're lying to you. So if you guys hear the word houses on a real estate commercial, you think you heard yes, because those are really common sounds, S and O, and yes and no, right? So we're just going to stay away from yes and no questions all night long. We want to go after specific facts and data, things that can prove. So right now, think of this as kind of like your novice level ghost hunting. We all know that the barn is red. If somebody's colorblind, I'm sorry, but I'm telling you it's red. So I actually offended somebody one night, and he made fun of me all night long. He's like, what color is that? What color? I'm like, come on, man. But anyway, so spirit boxes, we're literally going to be asking if somebody's here, what color is that barn? You're going to listen for the color red, obviously. But sometimes the color red isn't going to come through on a DJ or a commercial. So you're going to listen for things that might specifically be red, like a fire truck. A fire truck's never going to be any other color, right? A heart is usually red. I've had that come up here before. So again, it's a very simple question, and we can get an answer to that you know the answer to, because you don't have to do any research for it. It's right there. In the event you don't get an answer after a few tries, you want to go after another question like what's inside the barn. Now we've just opened it up. You got horses, which are animals. We have anything related to horses like hay or saddles or anything like that. But we also know that they were delivery horses that delivered milk and eggs. So protein, calcium are also two other words that might pop up as well. This is about putting clues together. We got to figure this stuff out. What are they trying to tell us? So again, are you that anxious to get going?
No.
Oh, you cold?
Yeah, somewhat.
Really? This is beautiful weather. So
Legs are cold.
give it 2 weeks, man. I'll be out here in tank top. But anyway, so spirit boxes, that's really how it's going to go through here. And that includes yours as well. So the two of you are going to kind of work together. That's kind of why I gave you the two devices that you have. Lasers and the pictures, obviously keep them off of the barn, but you also want to keep them off of vehicles. Those lasers are strong enough to set off car alarms, and I really don't want to run with 9 other people down the street. It's never fun, and I don't want to tell you how I know that. So, keep in mind those lasers are meant to be set up in a room by themselves, so the slower you move, the better, because otherwise your pictures are just going to come out blurry.
So I'm gonna just keep snapping as we
Just
go.
keep snapping through them. And I'm gonna, once I get through with the thermal imaging and the millimeter, I'm gonna be bouncing around with the rest of you because there's a lot more details that go into those two devices. You're getting a little bit of a reading already. So I want you all to know that we're standing on a sewer line and there's no electrical lines near us. Sometimes it waits until we leave. Sometimes it wants to start in the middle or over there. I never know what's gonna happen here. So spirit boxes, you should be watching what that EMF meter is doing so you know where to kind of stop and ask your questions. So if you have other questions you're going to ask, just let me know what those are, and if you get direct answers, that would be great. So spirit boxes and lasers, go ahead and feel free to spread out. I am going to take you and Michael, sorry, Christine, right?
Yes.
Getting it. So I'm going to take the two of you and kind of work with you guys for a few minutes.
Okay.
And Ellie, you're free to hang out too, since you're going to be seeing what her stuff does anyway. All right, so obviously you know you're looking for black and blue spots, right? So what I want you to do is point your camera at the wall for me. Watch what happens. Kind of bleeds out, right? Mainly, oh, you got a little bit of blue up there. So watch what happens when some skin gets in there. You see the wall kind of changed into a blue color because I'm always the warmest thing. We have a lot of people here. It's going to be easy to keep somebody in the picture at all times because that way we get an array of color and it's easier to see when things move that shouldn't be. So What I will
Gotcha.
tell you is that doesn't catch evidence every single night. It's just nice to have it at the ready. And not to mention, it gives you the full sense of the audio and all of the other, because there'll be times where I'm separated from you and you're catching things, you're talking to somebody and they're getting something on their spirit box, you know, because that black one doesn't record. So again, if you're near them, it might pick up on that audio where we can all hear what they heard. So again, you're kind of looking for those specific things. Your bottom number, Christine, is ambient temperature. So tell me what your ambient...
70.2, well, 70.
Okay, and what do you have in your crosshairs?
72, 70. It depends. If she gets in the way,
Yeah.
it's up to 80, but now it's
Yeah, 'cause
75.
it's double heat.
And then when I get them on them, it goes up to 80.
Yeah, because their temperature should go up.
Yeah.
Okay, so but her ambient temperature is measuring through this probe. It's measuring the air around that little blue wire.
Okay.
Okay, so again, I'm going to be constantly like, hey, where's our temperature at? Because if you start to see some things move that you're unsure of, I want to be able to try to quickly either debunk it and get it fixed so that way we know it's not, you know, an anomaly that we're getting excited about, a false positive, or do we actually have something?
Okay.
So again, that's like with this particular lot, I just want you to kind of make a few laps and hang out and maybe turn the camera real slow, get the metal, the asphalt, get the bricks, the wood that we have over there in the corner, some foliage. Just see how that temperature varies and how your colors change, because as we move throughout the night, we're going to have those different types of environments.
Okay.
So that way you kind of get a gist of what you're looking at. Does that kind of fulfill
So
your...
I work with her.
Not necessarily. I'll be kind of being the intermediate between
okay.
everybody. So if I say I need ambient temperature, she'll know to come running over, so to speak. So that way we're not always intermingling with the two different parties. And I have extra thermometers in my bag that if I need to measure something quickly, I can.
Okay.
So again, I got everything covered to where unless she's close enough to hear me, which she should be at all times anyway to hear me, we're going to be able to get her over to us pretty quick and find out what's going on.
Okay.
Millimeter. I am going to work with her, so go ahead
Walk
and get used
around?
to it. Yeah, just kind of hang out and see what it does on the vehicles and all the different materials.
Okay.
All right, so your top big number is the EMF that's called. Okay, so anything above 0.4 that get excited. High frequency,
What's up, dude?
Oh, I'm scanning.
Scared for some ghosts?
Scanning for some ghosts. Look,
What do he tell you?
just to get different readings.
And you have to look for the blue areas.
Like, so if I supposedly, they should stand out in front of that building.
And they do.
Yeah. So I'm looking for an anomaly.
Look at that. Oh, that's the door.
The door.
But you see him.
Keep a positive mindset. Dude, I can't understand.
notice how some buttons here on the side. Now, it's at the bottom of the keyboard.
Okay.
Go ahead and hit it. Kind of reset it back to zero.
Yeah, it's on the ground. I have a word.
Right, okay. Okay, okay.
I can pick up your dots on the ground with this thing. Are you guys waiting for something to cross your beams?
Yes. Maurice is going to take a picture of it when it's done. Life? That, my thing just said life. Yeah, this thing just said beautiful day. It just said beautiful day. Nick said beautiful day. This thing just said beautiful day. I don't like it very much. I don't like that thing. It's creepy, man. That was good. Is this the camera right here? Oh yeah, it is. Dude, you gotta point out some random stuff, man.
I have been.
Dude, you gotta hold it on there. It just said, hey you. I said, hey you.
You got any ghosts on your radar?
I ain't afraid of no ghosts. But my mom, she's at her home in Ireland. One of the homes, I guess, I think when they lived out in the country, she swore. No, it wasn't in the country. It was in. I saw the home. She showed it to me. It was above. My grandpa owned like a grocery store. They lived above that kind of a deal, and oh shit.
Tell them you're busy hunting goats. Not to bother you anymore.
Oh, yeah, those are my buddies.
How are we doing on yours, guys? Hearing anything? You're getting it just.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
so I'm on a ghost tour in Charleston.
Are you afraid?
No.
We ain't afraid of no ghosts.
But
What?
are you? Were you lying to me about your story of growing up with a ghost?
No.
You aren't lying.
No.
And what happened?
That's a true story.
Ghosts,
What happened?
What?
What happened?
Oh, well, we lived in a house after we sold the house where the store was, you know?
Oh, I thought that was the store. Okay, that
No,
wasn't.
It was the next house. It was the house that we were waiting for. We had rented while we were waiting for our nieces to come to America.
Mom, you gotta shine it close to yourself.
Anyway,
Your EMF is still going off.
it was
Oh,
that
over
house.
now.
Again, that's why I call it ghost hunting. They're not going to hang out in one spot.
So
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were on the phone.
no, I was telling my mom who swears that
Gotcha.
she had a ghost, and she says no, it's true.
Watch the lasers on the cars.
All right, I gotta go.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the next stop. All right, let me get the girls, and we're gonna go to the next stop. All right.
Man, don't screw things up.
You guys ready to learn some world history?
Yeah.
All right, let's go up this way.
What?
Listen to some real gossip.
What?
Yeah, you probably want to shut those off if you're
Yeah.
walking.
Yeah.
You're kind of going.
Gotcha.
You are. Mom, you are just in trouble.
I'll do my knee.
He put you obviously in charge of the wrong thing. This guy's gonna have great audio because I've got gas beyond belief. Can't stop. A new anomaly, ghost farts.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the ghost noises. We should just
Pick your feet up right here.
Get everybody in away from the entrance and exit because it's the only one for this lot. We don't want to make any ghosts, all right? We're actually just hunting for them. Nobody got that joke either. So you guys got to get on the ball here. This is supposed to be fun. All right.
We don't want to be one of ghosts.
Exactly. All right, so welcome to another beautiful spot of Charleston. A very beautiful parking lot. It's very expensive. Don't park here. So, what is this place? It actually used to be the home to Eliza and Charles Pinckney. So, who the hell were they? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew, signers of our Constitution. I hate politics. I don't think anybody here wants to talk about politics after an election year. We're going to talk about Eliza. She's way cooler. Not to mention last month was Women's History Month. So, Eliza married Charles at a young age. Yeah, we can go ahead and shut the REM pod off. This is like a 3-minute story. So, again, it's super annoying on your audio, you'll see. So, this is kind of like your intermediate level. So, I'm not going to be giving you what color was George Washington's white horse, like the Red Barn stuff over there. So, I'm going to give you some prompted questions, and maybe hopefully that'll inspire you to ask more. You just have to let me know, especially if you get answers. So, Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to tell you what age, of course, because her father thought he was dying over in England. And he wanted all of his kids home, and she didn't want to go. So she basically got married to Charles and said, Dad, I'm staying put. Didn't give her citizenship because it was the mid-1700s, mid-colonial times. So there was no such thing as citizenship yet. But anyway, she was right, and Dad got better, and he started sending over wedding gifts. So to kind of give you the layout of the land here real quick, the mansion was in the front, Eliza's garden was over by that tree, came all the way across, and we're standing where the servant quarters would have been. Dad started sending over plants because Eliza was a botanist. She played with plants a lot. One of those plants happened to be indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. There's a couple of you wearing it tonight because that's how we still use it. It started right where you're standing. So that's super cool, right? But she needs to be able to sell it and she needs to learn about it first. So her servants and slaves actually came from our Gullah culture. Indigo was already here. Gullah culture came straight from Africa, and our very weird temperatures, they knew how to keep this plant cultivated. So she learned from them, and then they moved the experiment over to Snee Farm in Mount Pleasant, which is about a 20-minute drive from here. So then she calls Dad and says, hey, I gotta be able to sell this stuff. The rice plantations are going downhill. Give me some contacts overseas, and I can start making some money for the family. Gives her contacts, boom. She's a businesswoman in the middle of the 1700s, which is unheard of during this time. So Eliza's done a lot of things for our country. I'm just giving you the skinny so that way you guys can start investigating. But there's a lot of weird facts about Eliza that hopefully you guys can get answers from on your spirit boxes. Or hopefully we hear some EVPs between my audio and the thermal imaging audio. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. They both go by their maiden name. So we're asking for their maiden name, either one. They both start with L. That's the interesting thing. So to find out which Eliza we're actually speaking with, let's see what their maiden name was. Let's see, you can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. She's pretty open. So how old she was, where did she die, what did she die from, where is she buried, and which U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So if that doesn't tell you how important she was, we actually got that straight answer last night. So, I mean, it was a definitive, here's the president's name. So very cool stuff. And I've had it multiple times, but when it happens in real time and you catch it, it's good. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously no longer here. Let's see, you can ask how many children she had, or maybe her children's names. But you really don't poke around with the kids' names and the kids that much because there was a tragedy there. And I find if we start poking at that tragedy, all activity will stop, pretty much for the rest of the night. I don't know what happens. It's almost like she kind of like lays everything down on my devices and said, nope, that's it, you're done for the night. Happens all the time. Let's see, what else? I think that about covers it. If you're gonna go after Charles, I'll be bouncing around all of you, so if you're not getting answers from Eliza, I'll kind of show you how to get in touch with Charles. That would be the husband, not the son or the nephew. And we'll kind of see what comes out of this. Who texted me about Camden?
Me.
Okay, which is interesting because we have a Camden.
I know.
So here's what I will tell you about one of the sons, and it wasn't Charles, was the leader and led the army in the Battle of Camden.
Really?
Yes. So this is one of the reasons why I said I probably need to head to Camden so I can learn more about that particular son. So very interesting stuff, and that was a fact I didn't even know, and it came up on the evidence one night. So that tells you how cool this is. Guys, if this were a grand finale, this would be it. So, I mean, we have more to do, but this place gives me that much activity. So I will tell you, people get a little weird with cameras in their cars. So if somebody's passing by going to their car, we don't want to be filming them or taking pictures of them. So just kind of be casual, be cool and casual, right? Lasers off cars, be mindful of where they are.
Mom.
Got it.
This
The
is
funny
where
thing
we're
is
gonna
I
have
don't
to
normally give them to kids because they want to play laser light show and bring the helicopters down. But yeah, let's. Oh, look at the EMF, by the way. That thing's going. What's going nuts?
It was.
So, where's your cell phone? Do you have a cell phone on you?
Yeah.
Just want to make sure it's not because of the cell phone. Okay. All right. So, have some fun in here. I am going to bounce around with all. Is it going
It
again?
was.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a reading for your EMF?
0.4.
0.4. Okay. So we're about even, right? Okay. Based on the readings. All right. Have fun in here. We're going to stay within the confines of the lot. And we will spend a good 10 to 15 minutes here based on the amount of activity that we get.
Quick question. So when I turn that back on, do I need to hit that other little button too? Or
Just the one on the right. Just the white button on the right-hand side, underneath the antenna.
okay, where at
Are you talking about the one on the side?
Yeah.
Yeah, so get it turned on, see if it's going haywire. If it is, that's when you hit the one on the side.
Gotcha.
You got this. I'll bounce around too. So
Okay.
I'm still learning about that one. You can crank that up loud and proud. You can have water.
Who am I asking for?
Eliza. You don't ask that thing.
Oh, I don't.
Have you been asking that thing questions? What have you?
Eliza. Oh, that just fell out of my pocket.
You sure?
It just fell out of my pocket. That's freaky.
You want to see some evidence from that camera in this location? Let's get out of it. Alright, so first up I was showing them the lasers and why the things that I look for that are evident there. Now this I would normally call a bug, but it does have like an extra arm. So like a streak like that is normally just a bug flying through it, but that is hitting something else. So that's what caught my eye on that one. This is the red laser. I have circles that are unexplainable that almost go into a perfect spiral. Make no sense whatsoever. But as far as the camera goes, let me get you something from that. So this is that corner right up there. So obviously the orange is the wall. You're going to see two living heads going past the wall. And then you're going to see two dead people come up right about there. Boom, boom. This guy was always in view. That's why I always say to try to keep somebody's skin temperature in there. You want to see it again?
Yeah.
And I've had that analyzed by firemen and mechanics, frame by frame. If it was a vehicle, remember a vehicle is going to be on the opposite side, and no vehicle is going to be that tall and that slow. You can see the pace of the other people. It's about the same. So those are two literal cold spots, 25 degrees or more, colder than whatever that guy's skin temperature was at that particular time.
Or it's number 5.
It's going to come up right there.
But I don't think she can be that young.
And you can see it's two people side by side. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for.
That's freaky.
It's exciting to me. That's the stuff I live for. So, and I have more stuff, I just haven't clipped it out yet. I have like blue blobs, like your temperature, you know, having one shirt on, like should be fairly, like your skin temperature would be like, you know, white or yellow and your shirt would be orange because that's the way the frame works. I have this blue blob that kind of hovers and then goes away. I just haven't clipped it out yet to be able to prove it to the, you know, the next groups. But yeah.
So you don't think it's ever a glitch in this?
At times I get glitches. So I can usually tell what those glitches are, but when I see a definitive temperature, and it's blue here, and I can get the temperature that it's 15,
hot boy right
15, 20 degrees colder, and then all of a sudden it goes away, and the skin temperature comes back, or the shirt temperature comes back up, which is probably going to be closer to 80 degrees because our
You
skin...
think something passed in front?
Yeah. Now, I have had glitches come up where this one just happened like 2 weeks ago. Somebody was holding that red spirit box, the one the other guy's holding. I can't remember his name, I'm horrible. But
Paul.
it's me in the picture, and the person holding that red spirit box, this little white glitch just like pops up over that person, and the spirit box immediately stops working. We walk away from the area, and it turns back on, and it's already recording. What I will tell you is it takes 3 buttons to get that thing to record. It's 3 clicks. The top, the sweep button, then record. It shut down. Like, I thought it was dead, so much that I was like, oh, it's going to be glitching. I'm going to buy a new one. I haven't had a problem with it since. That was 2-3 weeks ago. I got a spare one in my bag, and they're not cheap. So I was kind of like, damn it, I had to buy an extra piece of equipment. But at the same time, I was worried that it was going to start glitching. I've been using it for 2 years. I was like, okay, warranty's probably wearing out. It's cool. I'll just get a new one. No, it's been perfectly fine ever since. Crazy stuff happens on my tours, bro. All the time. And I can't make it up. I can't even explain half the stuff that comes up.
Yeah, that's the other problem. There's no explanation,
Nope,
right?
that's exactly why I do this. So I figured the more data I collect from each location that we go to, I go to the same places every night. I might switch it up every 6 months or so. I might add a location or change it. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same spots. You know how much data I have from this location alone?
Hey, that'll be a ton.
I could probably give you a whole Netflix series just on this location. That's how much stuff I have from here. I got straight EVPs, I got disembodied voices, I got camera glitches, you know, the thing that I showed you there in the corner. I got EVPs galore that are direct answers. Which U.S. president was the pallbearer at your funeral, Eliza? George Washington. Comes up. Straight answer. And it's been more than once. And it's not a disembodied voice, it's a radio chatter.
From what he has, you saying?
Yeah. So that thing is recording. So when I get the recording back in the morning, I'm going through all the hotspots. I don't go through all this stuff. This is going to be like 9 hours worth of data for y'all. I go through it for about 2 hours, just kind of skimming through it. And if you say you saw something, I say don't stop recording. I'll look at it in the morning. And I just remember I got to look at the Pinckney Mansion site in the morning on the thermal imaging and focus in on that time frame. So that way I can try to find it and then explain it. It happens all the time. So I go through it for about 2.5 hours, and I text you guys by noon. And you go through all the data yourselves, and people text me all the time of things that they find because I'm not going through the whole thing.
This is your job.
Yeah. I own this. Like this is I left a 6-figure job to do this.
That's how much faster you want to do.
Yeah. I've been writing books for about 20 years. I've been ghost hunting for about 10. And I've been doing the tours about 2. So if that kind of gives you my timeline.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a 6-figure job and I walked away.
Awesome. Whatever
Happiness trumps money.
Yeah, it really does. There's a lot to say about it.
And let's face it, what do I work? About 20 hours a week? And I'm making almost as much money as I was before. Because nobody takes a cut out of what I'm doing.
Exactly.
Pay for the advertising, insurance, and all the extra mess that I have. But those are business expenses. I was running businesses before I did this anyway. So I know how to run a profit and loss report. I know how to watch my expenses. I know how to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is life, dude. It's all about ghosts. I got invited, like the thing with the dots on the thing of the back, the Velcro. I got invited to come to this flea market this weekend. It's a punk rock flea market. They called me and said, dude, you're gonna have a line. We got wind that you're in Charleston. We wanna have you down. We can give you a discount on the table. What do you think? I'm like, I'm in, let's do it. They're like, you're gonna have a line.
Where's it at? Down there at the market?
No, it'll actually be at the Omar Shrine. We do a lot of like weird events over there. Like they'll have like book sales and all kinds of things. It's in Mount Pleasant. But it's a punk rock festival, so I'm gonna have all these skater kids down there, and they're gonna be lined up at my table just coming to talk with me.
Yeah, they
My
will.
wife's coming on just to be a cashier. Like, I mean, she's normally involved with this stuff anyway, because she went to school for photography and graphic design, so she does anything I need with the Stories logo, you know, and stuff like that. So she designed the Stories in the Cemetery logo from scratch. Everything we do, she does all my book covers, she does my headshots, she does anything I need for social media. If I need something crazy, if I have a question about the thermal or the pictures we're taking, she looks
knows
at it.
all that stuff.
Yep. And her day job is she's a cell phone manager for Best Buy. So if you send me a picture and said, hey, can you tell us what's going on in this picture because you found it somewhere else, or you took it, you know, first thing I'm going to ask you is what kind of phone do you have? Because my wife needs to know what kind of phone you have because she knows every camera on every single phone for the past 8-9 years. And she could tell you why that particular picture did that, or she'll tell you that's an anomaly, you have the real deal. Move along. And she can usually determine that within 5 minutes.
That's pretty cool.
That's what we do. So all my books and all that stuff, like I got a new book coming out at the end of this year. So she's got to get on that damn cover. I already told her. Got to get to work. I know you got a job. I know you're wrapping up your degree. Get it done. She has an office. I got an office. But that's just how we work. And
You
she
have
already
any
knows,
kids
like,
in the mix?
What's that?
You have any kids in the mix?
Yeah.
So,
That was with my first marriage. So the oldest one's 20, and my youngest is 15.
okay, so yeah, you're almost out of the clear.
I'm pretty much out of the clear.
You're out of the
Yeah,
clear.
15-year-old lives with mom in Myrtle Beach. You know, she spends a lot of time down here, and most of the time she's on the tours because she knows the equipment just as well as I do.
Really?
Oh yeah. She's involved too. Like if I can't make something out, I hand it to her. You look at it, and especially if it's on the camera, she'll just put it up on the TV because I send it over to YouTube. She'll just bring it up. I was like, go bring this up on YouTube. Look at 34, 39 on the marker because she knows how to look for the markers. Half the shit used to be hers, bro. When I walked away from that job, she I was like, Dad's got a new idea. Give me the shit back. Like half the stuff was her birthday gift one year. Spirit box and EMF and laser lights and shit. Yeah.
So she likes all this stuff too.
Oh yeah. My oldest daughter was into it too when I was, like 10 years ago when I first started just doing this as a hobby. She was on it, but I didn't have the equipment. I was only working with a psychic. So I go to haunted locations with this psychic and I was going to write a book about him and kind of based off of his perception of things. And of course, in Myrtle Beach, you're going to get your door slammed in your face because this is the Bible Belt. So we had about 5 or 6 locations done. I wanted 20 for the book. We just couldn't get it done. And then I turned it into a blog. Then it became a podcast. And now here we are. It's a ghost hunting tour for you guys to show you that this shit ain't scary. Like, this is about history. It's about learning what the devices are going to do versus what you can actually capture.
I am skeptical though.
That's okay.
But I think that's probably human nature to be set. I mean, most people aren't like you. But you tell me you saw something on there, I'm still skeptical until I see it for myself. I mean, yeah, I get that, but even if you see it on here, you're like, I don't know, my mom swears. That's who I call.
Yeah.
I mean, she
You
swears.
wouldn't believe this guy? Is that what you're calling her about?
No. What I'm saying is, like, she's real religious, real, like, she don't lie. Just a wholesome, like, she's not a kidder. And she's like, yeah. I was like, I want to make sure I got that story straight.
Can we see what's on your word list?
Yeah.
Since I haven't followed up with anybody yet.
You've actually got some pretty decent things.
See, we got anything that's...
Told us to go to the, doorway.
Spider and nosebleed. Didn't I just tell you how Big John just beat somebody up?
We got violent when you were telling us a story.
Yeah, there was no violence here. Again, that's part of the 80% DS that they're trying to, make this fun and scary for.
So where
No,
are
it
you
did
picking those
just
words
go-
up from?
So those words are allegedly what FM radio stations are coming through, but it's also just basic static the static noise, so that way the ghost can communicate with us. That's an electronic device. Now, this guy has, I'm going to go to this guy, has 9,000 words in it, 9,111. So there are terms that I still haven't seen in this thing, and I've been using this thing for probably 3 or 4 years now.
Now, it was kind of neat. I was standing right there, and it did just go off, and I didn't, and it went to like 7 point something.
Okay.
And I was standing still, but it
Not
didn't
surprised.
do anything.
Completely not surprised.
Doorway again.
Yeah, he's from the doorway.
Well, it's probably just staying on there until it's ready for another word.
Yeah.
Again, it's going to spit out words. So my apartment's not haunted. I could turn that thing on, put it on the coffee table, and it'll still spit out a word every 1 to 3 to 5 minutes. So it just depends, because it's meant to be a game or a hoax. It's almost like a fake Ouija board. So if something does come through that's actually relevant, like I told you what the president was, right? If I get that on there, and it's night after night, multiple times,
Then you know why.
I can't deny it. I can't deny multiple times.
Nick?
Yes. He died.
Oh no.
Or a ghost.
Come on, nothing's going on.
I shut it off and turned it back on. I was telling him. Alright.
I want to walk around.
What's up? Oh, he juked you. What's up with you, man?
I'm trying to get some images on the thermo camera.
Got anything?
I don't think I'm doing very good. But I'm trying to keep people.
Guy in the front looks like a headless guy.
I'm trying to keep people like in there. That way you can see the anomaly behind them or in front of them. You know what I mean?
Look at you knowing your stuff now.
I'm learning.
You better say you're done with Walt and go to ghost tours now. I feel the same. Yeah. Some rock and roll music. Dude, Grandpa doesn't know what he's doing.
Definitely keep an eye on that because it's done it in the past, but only with the glitch on the camera. You guys will listen to that. You'll be able to hear it again. Are you hearing anything, or did it just die on you?
No, when it died.
I mean, have you heard anything before it died?
You got anything?
I said when
I don't know.
died, it's like 59 seconds.
So
Look at Mary. She's so. Look, you give me a job. This is what I do.
Wait, can you see the
okay,
laser?
show it on Meredith and let's see what if she's hot.
Well, you know I am.
No.
So I'm hearing the
Very
answer
cold.
there. So if it was
Let's
going
go back
super
Camden.
fast, we may
Oh,
have
yeah.
gotten it because it would have just been that little.
A lot hotter.
He's got a
So you were
hot
at
face, doesn't he?
59.79, right?
Or is the
Which
red the
probably somebody's
hottest?
phone number for a business.
I don't know.
It's almost like you could.
So the
He looks
answer
like
to
a
that is actually
skeleton
70.
face.
So
Do
you
Meredith
still have to say
again.
70 to say 79.
No, the orange is
It's
the
a
hottest by
stretch.
far.
And
The-
his
the
nose.
white.
Oh, okay.
The white's the hottest ever.
Again, that's kind of
When I go up there, it goes like 92.
Her brain.
When I come down,
Her brain's
to
like melting.
here, the mouth, it goes to
Are you burning?
72.
Honey, you're burning up. Oh, you actually are.
Alright, so.
Look at me. You give me a job, I'm going to do it.
Yep. Booked on me. Not that that's ever happened. Alright, so let me get you guys some answers. Let me pull the girls over here because we're getting some little tidbits that are kind of popping up, and I definitely want to watch that video. Did you see anything on there that may have been weird? Alright. So we've had a couple of spikes here. So I'm probably turn the REM pod off. Hopefully it's kind of in. We've had a couple of little weird things happen with the REM pod, so a little bit of motion when she was standing completely still. Not to mention her EMF was the highest number we saw.
Oh gosh, like 6 point something or no? It was like 7, I think.
Okay, so anything above 0.4 is where Paul's green light goes to the next one. But his device only goes up to 25. Hers is pretty much infinite. So we'll see what happens as we move throughout the night. Any other words? What other words I think were kind of significant? Oh, we got
Violent? I mean, not violent.
Lighter nosebleed. And then we got recently flour, cell, off.
Flower makes sense because we talked about this story.
And off came on after you fixed his thing.
And which type of flour did you say? Is it like baking flour, not actual flour? Okay. So
And then there's a sail. Sail?
so like bake sale?
Yeah, like sail, yeah.
It's not gonna be cool on the outside. They didn't have bake sales. It wasn't ice cream. Alright, so But the nosebleed, what was the other word with that? Fighter. So we had fighter and nosebleed. We were talking about Big John and how he got into a bar brawl. So stretchy, but kind of there. Chapman, right? Chapman heard 4 numbers. What were they? 5979. So the way he heard it was 5979. His device is slowed down. He asked how old Eliza was when she died. Is that correct? So the number is in there, and if this was at a faster rate, we probably would have had just that blip. The number is 70. You still have to say 70 to get 79. So kind of another stretch. Again, not solidified yet. I do want to go through and make sure we have anything else before I say these were 2 stretchy things that we had. Anything else that we may have heard on your end?
Nothing really.
And you guys did hear the number 1 over there though, right?
Yeah.
So,
And John.
and John over there?
John.
Oh.
That was over here, right? That was over
That was,
here.
yeah.
Okay, so even still 1 block away from Big John's, but number 1 actually refers to the president that was the pallbearer at Eliza's funeral, George Washington. So to give you an example, last night we heard Denzel Washington come through on a radio station very clearly, and that was the only thing. Denzel Washington is an actor, for those of you that don't know. And why the hell would we be talking about Denzel Washington on the radio if it wasn't meant to give us that specific Washington piece when we asked for the president? It was a direct answer. So those are the kinds of things that I'm looking for. The other answers, we know she was 70 and Washington was the president. But Eliza died in Philadelphia from breast cancer that we know of. Because going off medical records, you kind of had that look like, Nick, that was colonial times. How the hell do we know it was breast cancer? Medical records. So 1793, that's also where she's buried. So if that doesn't tell you why we don't go to cemeteries, because you're not going to hang out where you're buried when you're dead, you're going to go to the places that you love. So again, that's why I get so many definitive answers here. Sorry, I keep looking over my shoulder to make sure we're not going to become ghosts, because that's, again, the only entrance and exit. Let's see what else. The mansion did burn down in 1861, so almost 70 years after Eliza's death. So the house was still in the family, and that was in the Great Fire of 1861. So when we say Great Fire here in Charleston, that means because we had dozens of Great Fires. I don't know how any of them started, but a lot of buildings were taken out. They went from peninsula coast to peninsula coast. This building just happened to be in the way. If that kind of gives you a gist of how bad the fire was. Let's see what else. There was 4 kids: Charles, Thomas, George, and Harriet. George was an infant that did not make it. So we don't know how old that baby was. We just know that the baby was an infant, either days or weeks old. And she named this baby after her father, George. So if we get the name George on a spirit box, I don't know which of the 3 it's referring to until I get another clue. So again, we might hear the word president or son or anything of those nature after it. I don't get excited with one piece. So again, I'm kind of stretching it with the 79 here, I know, but again, a lot of this stuff you can't find until the next morning anyway. We're going to walk up about 4 blocks up East Bay Street to go to Lodge Alley. Spirit boxes, I want you guys to listen for names. I'm not going to tell you which names or why until we get there. Please keep filming. Your EMFs are going to go crazy because of the parking meters. You can pretty much ignore those numbers. So once we start walking on the street, the crosswalks, yeah, it's going nuts now that I'm giving you guys answers. About ready to hit it. So absolutely no laser zone on East Bay Street, and when we get to the alley, I'm going to have you take a few very still shots going through the alley before we all walk down through it. Yeah, everything's going bonkers. So, but he's right around, I'm going to guess around 20 to 25. You got nothing.
Oh, well, should I well?
Not necessarily. It's not coming from here. It's coming from the rest of the device. All right, so we ready to take a hike? All right, we're going to go this way. And I found out who my skeptic was, by the way.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't believe in this. I don't believe in it.
I got a big picture of the goat in the alleyway.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And we're all worried now because.
And you have a letter.
He's watching out for you. It's better if it comes to him, because I see him and stuff. But He'll appreciate it for you.
Yeah, I feel like that's gonna be the norm from here on out.
It's down. That's depth.
They'll have, like, at every break of the building,
Grass. I was gonna say,
I gotta take a week. Hey. United States Customs House. You know right here? Oh, that's a different house.
is that the one?
The girl got really drunk. You know what I'm saying? They were like,
That's all.
Coincidence.
That's when you find the very old men and the very young women. There's an Irish pub.
You guys go up there. That'd be whiny.
Oh, Chicago.
Like, he made some drugs.
He says six tours a night.
What do you mean?
That's what he said, 6 tours a night.
He does?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess an hour each, sort of.
Because we've been on this far. I've been recording for over an hour.
Really?
Yeah. I'm an hour and 2 minutes recording.
Well, I think I got an instant. It has not felt like an hour and 2 minutes. For you. You get a break every time you like hear music. Oh, there's an antenna on this thing.
Well, she told me to say that.
This is such a touristy thing to do.
Right here. Look at this.
Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
Huh?
You gotta go take a picture.
Oh.
Hey, come on, man. Get the golf ball, guys.
Oh.
She's a photog.
Fart. This camera's picking me up.
Singer quotes.
Oh, I know. It's got like 10 of my farts in there.
Well, if you Here are some of those.
Hey,
On
next
that.
time I fart, I want to put it and see how that air goes.
Don't put a heat sensor, just put it up and put the noise sensor up your butt crack, and it just will ripple. It would be the funniest noise in the world. Oh, Grumman, you might want to watch your step on these things.
I always do things.
If you hear some on there that aren't yours, they're mine. I've been doing the same thing.
I've been walking away from people.
Well, there's pretty nice wind.
Everybody pick up your feet. Like, do a good job picking up your feet.
Matt, could you give us some more touristy thing to do? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he looks like he looks.
Uh-oh. We're stopping.
Alright guys, so this is considered a quiet area, so we're going to be pretty brief here. First off, on your spirit boxes, let's get those turned down. Did we hear any names along the way? Nothing? Okay. So the reason why I asked for names is because this used to be where people lived. So this was residential. These two buildings weren't here. So I have the full list of names of every person that's ever lived down here and their occupations. It's not a long list and it's not a census list, it's just a simple list. The names I normally get, Benjamin and John. So there were 4 different Johns that lived down here, so take that for what it's worth. But when I get Benjamin and John in the same night, those were 2 out of the 5 people that lived here in 1801. How do I know it's that specific John? His last name shows up as well, which was Johnson. So I get Benjamin, John Johnson. Can't make this stuff up, guys. It happens all the time. I usually get it about once a month. So I just never know when it's going to actually pop up. So when we cross the last crosswalk coming over this way, you're now inside the original Charlestown walls. So this would have been one of our first streets. Okay, so you can see it's just wide enough for a horse and buggy. The people that lived here were considered lower class, which makes sense because the Charlestown wall was over there, buildings. The smell of low tide would have been coming through here pretty strong. So people of higher class are not going to be putting up with that coming down their actual street. So they did find some of their tools and silverware in between these clay bricks you guys are walking on. And this is also where we had a Masonic lodge. So the term Mason usually shows up here as well. So again, lots of history down here. We did get some photos. We'll see if anything pops out of them. At times I'll get weird light anomalies. My wife always analyzes the different lights here. She's taken tons of photos so she knows which way to look and which ones are going to be real deal and which ones are basically off the lights. So we'll see what happens out of that. As we walk through the alley, we're going to be walking through an actual neighborhood. So we're going to be very quick as we can to kind of get through that neighborhood. Tour guides aren't allowed to be tour guides in neighborhoods. So to get to our next haunted location, we're going to have to kind of cut through a neighborhood. I just like to show you guys these really old bricks that have been here since the mid-1700s. So really cool stuff. So if you want, you can take more pictures down here if you'd like, going the opposite way once we all exit. The rest of us, let's go ahead and continue on. Definitely no lasers on the houses. Spirit boxes audible to you only, just like what you're doing. Great job. Please keep filming. You're doing a great job. So I won't have to splice any video together so far that I know of. So let's take a hike up this way.
Yeah.
Anybody need a flashlight? Can y'all see?
There's ducks in the alley. That's Grandpa Paul. Sounds like a ducky duck, I tell you.
That guy walking down the alley, he's like on the left. He's like a Hispanic guy with the bandana around his forehead, black bandana, really buzz cut. Oh, he was scary. Man, I jumped when I saw him. And then he didn't move. He was just like. Don't pull out a knife. Don't pull out a knife.
Look at the size of that crepe myrtle. Oh.
You get that on video?
Did you just be with somebody?
I hope that there's no back there. It's so bad it looks like there's no one behind them. Beautiful. He's so quiet. Oh. Oh. Oh my God.
Shit.
Oh, what is that on?
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, cool. Give you a secret.
Ford F-100.
Oh, it's chocolate. So sick.
That's pretty cool. 53.
What? Everybody is there. Place of your divine.
It's really pretty cool. I'm actually going to have you guys just chill and have a seat. So this is kind of like your break, right? You guys came to me to work, and this is your break time. You get to chill for a few. So this is kind of like your legends and lore portion. So we're going to kind of cover a few stories of things that happen around this corner, because there's a lot here. As you can see, there's other tours already. But we're going to do one final big investigation, like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site, across over at the Powder Magazine. But I kind of like to show off a couple of things here first. And this is very common stuff, but if we get things that show up on our spirit boxes, I'm excited. But do I expect a whole lot? Not necessarily. We did get the word pregnant show up on Allie's word list, so I'm going to tell you what I think it might be related to. So the story they're telling up there, they're standing on the eastern side of the St. Philip Cemetery. So there's a story there because there's a sign inside that says there's no ghost at St. Philip's besides the Holy Ghost. Okay? There's a reason for it, of course. In 1888, a young lady by the name of Sue Howard Hardy died 6 days after her stillborn child. 1987, we have a local photographer in town. He's taking pictures of all the cemeteries. He captures a full apparition with a woman wearing a shawl and then a baby basket next to her over that grave. It's 1987, so there's no cell phones and Photoshop and all that stuff, so he sends it to Kodak to try to get it debunked. They can't debunk it either. Of course, I don't show the picture on my tour. Obviously, my occupation kind of is very superstitious, as I'm sure you can imagine. Females that hold it, you're going to get the same type of symptoms that I told you about back at Big John's. Females that are pregnant while they hold it are not going to have a very good pregnancy. So we're going to let these folks pass through. So that's why I think that the word pregnant is, she got that as soon as we walked through Elijah Alley. So, hi guys. So that's kind of what I'm tying that to, so we'll see if anything else pops up. Again, I'm not excited about one word, but we do have one so far, so I'll see what comes up on the other devices. Did you guys notice the gorgeous alley that we walked past? That's Philadelphia Alley. So that is a no-tour zone. I know that from experience. So, but anyway, that used to be called Dueler's Alley. So I don't know if you guys can see it or not, especially from where you're sitting, but there's a doorway in the middle of the wall back there. So in the event there was a death during a duel, they would bring the body through that doorway over the courtyard, over to the cemetery where they would drop the body and then go celebrate the winner. So not a whole lot of people talk about that doorway, but the story we all tell about that particular alley is during the time of the duels. So there was a doctor that moved down here. His name was Joseph Brown Ladd. He moved down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Again, clues that we can be listening for. So Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. The attorney that was handling that money said, "You're not getting married yet. Send the doctor away, start his practice elsewhere, and we'll see where his truth lies." So he comes to Charleston. He's going to start his practice here. So the coachman that brings him into town, uptown, set him up to be robbed and killed. So it's not a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody walking by, an attorney, local, his name was Ralph Isaacs. He sees what's going on, and he says, "You don't want to stay here. Let me take you somewhere safe." So he takes him to 59 Church Street. We're on Church Street, just so you know. His house is that way. It's the Thomas Rose house now. So anyway, the two become friends, and the doctor becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because he's making lots of money, his practice is doing well. Amanda's moving down soon. Of course, he's a happy guy. Him and Ralph go see plays together, but because the doctor makes so much more money than him, they have different seats. They can't talk about the play during the play. They have to talk about it on the way home. So they go see William III from Shakespeare. I don't know which theater, because we had dozens during that time. A little hard to pinpoint which one. But they start arguing about the new actress. The doctor loves her, Ralph doesn't. Then it starts being an insult party on the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island. So they obviously go their separate ways, but Ralph is from here. He calls his buddies at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper and says what a disgrace the doctor is to the city of Charleston. The doctor sees it, and he says, "Let's go down to Dueler's Alley and we're going to settle this." So they come down, they take the 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. However, Ralph still has one shot. He takes it out on the kneecap on the doctor. So he didn't die. He didn't come through the death gate that I just told you about. His friends pick him up and they carry him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later. He's a doctor. He can't heal himself. It's the 1800s. He probably just bled himself out trying to heal himself. They say as you walk through the alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor or gunshots. Do I have other clues? I do. Words like to come up around the doctor all the time. I also get the initials RI, which could be two different references. The doctor was originally from Rhode Island, so we have RI there, and his opponent was Ralph Isaacs, so RI there as well. It's not ironic that RI will show up when I'm walking through that alley, so I never know what it refers to until I get another clue. Remember, I told you it's always two pieces. So, I just wanted to point out, you guys see the burning gas lamp off in the distance? So that's what we call the pirate house. That's where Blackbeard's men would come off the ships and go meet up with a few girls, have a few drinks, and have a place to stay. But they also dug a tunnel from the pirate house over to Dock Street Theater. At the time, it was Planter's Hotel. So Planter's Hotel was where they had plays, some little prostitution going on, and of course it was a hotel. So the pirates would go over there for several reasons. You can guess one of them. I'm trying to keep it PG, we got kids. And the other piece was because pirates tie really good knots. So they would actually work there during the plays and help with the weights and the drawstrings and those kind of things. So they would actually make a few bucks while they were here. And while our mind is on pirates, we're going to go talk about the Powder magazine. So I see a couple floating eyes, which means my storytelling is about over at this corner. So we're going to go across the street. We're going to talk about this Powder magazine. And then this is going to be almost your expert level where you guys are going to be able to ask anything you want to. I'm not going to give you those probing questions like what I've done in the past. But again, there's a lot of holes in this story, which is part of the reason why I start bringing people to this location. And I'll be honest, I didn't even believe it until it wasn't even part of my tour 6 months ago, because I didn't believe the story until I started actually getting evidence from it. So I wasn't allowed to go down Philadelphia Alley anymore, so I had to kind of reroute some things. So we'll kind of see what we come up with tonight. I'm getting more and more every single night, and we'll kind of see what we get out of it. And this is where I told you all those blue blobs that I couldn't figure out, and the glitch from the spirit box. All that stuff happened in our next lot. So let's head across the street while we're thinking about pirates. Ours, right? Alright, we can go a little bit further, I guess. Can everybody step through over here? Alright, so. We got everybody over here? Alright, so we're going to be talking about this little building over here with the crosses on it. First off, those aren't crosses, those are earthquake bolts. So, earthquake bolts, because we had a big scare in 1886, we started throwing earthquake bolts in certain buildings. What does that mean? They're turnbuckles that either go through the roof or through the floors of certain buildings, like the apartment building behind it. In the event that the building gets quaked again, you can turn those turnbuckles on the bolts in the center of them, and it'll straighten the building back up again. Have we had to use them? No, because we haven't had another earthquake since. So, those are the very first earthquake bolts that we put in Charleston. That's why they're so crude looking, the crosses on the little building. So they're not even cut the same size. You'll see that they're starting to come off the building once we get a little bit closer. I do like to talk about the construct of this building a little bit because it's very interesting. I told you guys about the Charlestown walls, right? So that wall came right up Cumberland. Cumberland wasn't a street yet, so that's where the wall was. We're just inside the wall, and it went just past the powder magazine. So that powder magazine was tucked right in the corner, 3 blocks away from the water. So if it were to get struck by a cannon, those walls are 35 inches thick. There's gunpowder inside. So if it actually penetrates and goes all the way through, there's sand in the roof, 1712. It would explode the sand in the air and drop over the flames and put the flames out and save the building. I think that's pretty smart, right? Only it doesn't work. We had another powder magazine closer to the battery, which was closer to the water and not as far, obviously. So it actually, same thing, sand went up. It was unable to put out the flames. The whole building burned to the ground. So great concept. The cool thing is this one was never attacked. So the sand, 1712, doesn't disintegrate, so it's still there. We did some repairs on that roof in the 1990s, and we found that the sand is still there. It's a museum now. This has actually served in 7 different wars. They moved gunpowder up and down the coast. So it wasn't like it started in one battle and then stayed there the whole time. They'd only have it here for a few weeks, maybe even days, and then they would move it somewhere else. So 7 different wars. Very interesting building. It was finished in 1713, which makes it our oldest government building on the East Coast. It's not the oldest government, it's not the oldest building in Charleston, the oldest government building. Keep that in mind. So there's one other building more older than this one, as far as a regular building. So keep those years in mind, because the ghost story here is based off the time period. So there's not going to be a whole lot of familiar things during that time period that are still here. 1708, a young lady moves here with her father from Ireland, along with his mistress, which was her mother. Hang in there, this one gets a little twisty. So he moved here with his daughter and mistress because he was getting away from his wife. How mad was that wife that he had to travel halfway across the world to get away from? So he moved here. She's probably around 11, 12. She watches this building being finished. Then she becomes a teenager. We have pirates coming through town. She falls in love with one of them. His name is James Bonney. So Dad doesn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. So she moved to Jamaica and she marries James Bonney. Her name is Anne Bonney. So she was Anne Cormack, gets married to Anne Bonney. So we're on guy number 1. Keep that in mind. So when they move to Jamaica, she finds out that James Bonney's not the pirate that she was wanting. He turns out to be a privateer, which basically makes him a spy for the British. She wanted the Johnny Depp, Captain Jack Sparrow type mentality, badass pirate. She didn't get that. She got a privateer instead. So what happens? She falls in love with another pirate, guy number 2, if you're not keeping count. So this guy's name is John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. So you can imagine he's a very young, stout young man, dressed pretty well. He's a new pirate, he's got his own ship, and she wants to be part of it. He says, okay, girlfriend, you can be part of my ship. The female's curse pirate ship, so you have to dress like a guy. She's in, she's game, she's gonna do this. If he dresses up like a guy, she's part of the crew. She's allowed to be a female in his quarters, which means she eventually gets pregnant. So, what happens from there is Calico Jack drops her off in Cuba. He can't have a male being pregnant on his pirate crew, so he says, have the baby in Cuba, we'll figure it out when you come back. She has the baby, returns to the ship without a baby. We don't know what happened to that baby. And she's dressed like a female. She no longer gives a damn about hiding her gender, which makes Jack very angry. So what does she do to make him jealous? He captured another pirate crew while she was away. She goes down below deck and she's going to go flirt with them prisoners. This guy that she turns out that she was flirting with happened to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that was captured by Calico Jack. Say that 5 times fast. I dare any of you to try it. So, this lady's name was Mary Reed. The two become friends. She convinces Mary Reed to become part of the crew. She agrees. The whole crew is down below deck, too drunk to fight back when the British fleet shows up. They're about to take over the ship. So it's literally Anne Bonny and Mary Reed taking on the whole British fleet. Well, what do you think happens? The whole ship gets captured, right? Anne and Mary have been dressed back like guys. Then they go to trial a week after their entire other crews are already hung. They're gone. They're dead, including Calico Jack. So Anne and Mary go in front of Chief Justice Nicholas Laws, and they reveal their genders. They say, you can't hang us for women. He says, I don't care. I'm still going to convict and try you, and you're pirates. Done. Then they pled their bellies, which both means they claim that they were pregnant. Whether or not we know that's true, we have no idea. He said, okay, we'll delay your hanging till after your pregnancies. Dad is still here in Charleston. He's able to bail out Anne Bonny and bring her back home. From what we know there, she remarried, had 4 kids, and died at the age of 84. So there was 4 people that we know of that she fell in love with. Keep in mind, she was also Anne Bonny, married to James during her whole love affair with Calico Jack. Calico Jack tried to buy off the dowry, and James refused. So, I know, drama, right? So, what happened to Mary Reed? She happened to die in a Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. So we have no idea other than the fact that she died in jail. So this location, feel free to ask whatever questions you want. There's a lot of holes there. I've gotten terms like save my child. I've had the term November and 28 show up. That was the data for a trial. I've had the term 300 show up. We're about a 300-year anniversary because that was in 1720. So in November, I started getting the number 300 here a lot. It was the 300th anniversary. We get all kinds of things wrapped around pirates. I've had the word calico show up here before. That's not a term you use every day. So that's pretty specific. So we're going to take those hopefully very specific things. Cameras and lasers, if you guys wanted to go to the very front of the building, you can. Get some pictures, get some video, shoot some lasers. Just don't go above the powder magazine because you'll shoot into the apartments. Does that make sense? So we want to kind of keep those in that range. The EMFs. So your device and your number, this is a dead zone. If I hit anything, it usually means something else is giving me something else somewhere else as well. So you should both be at 0 and probably all green. So where are you at? You at all 0? Okay, so if you get a spike, that means I have to pay attention to another device, maybe even yours, because it's so close. So again, we're going to be listening in very closely to see if we can capture anything. Let's see what we can find. Let's have some fun with this one. What name?
Look at you guys.
We are too
Don't hit me.
let's test something. Let's you and I come up here. You wearing cowboy boots?
Yeah.
It sounds like it.
They just work boots.
I don't know how you're walking around in them things, man.
I wear them at work. They were like work boots. I mean, they're not real cowboy boots.
I got you.
But they just...
I go through probably 10 pairs of tennis shoes a year based on doing this.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't wear
and I don't buy
these.
cheap shoes either. Alright, so I want you to point that at me because this is where that glitch happened where I told you something happened to that spirit box. And there was kind of like a white flash and it almost looked like it was a bunch of lines. And I looked at it just frame by frame so I can kind of see what was going on. So if you, we're just going to be a minute here, just see if anything happens. I'm going to move around and just talk. And that way, if anything happens, do you see any kind of white lines just kind of showing up out of nowhere? Any weird glitching? Or is it just, it looked like it has been pretty much the whole night?
You mean by glitching it stopped?
No, because glitching, like if it stops, that means it's calibrating.
Okay.
So it will calibrate from time to time, you know, just so it's getting the right temperatures on things. Just want to make sure this group isn't going to come in here. They usually go by the front. I stay out of everybody's way. They already don't like me.
Oh, they don't?
People are talking about me all over town. And then I'm taking their business, and I'm more expensive than they are. So I've made a few connections, but not a whole lot. Like I don't hang out with these guys at all. Like I'm the noisy group. I'm in everybody's way. You know what I mean? The fact that I kind of rag on them a little bit. Just want to make sure. Yeah, they're going to the front. Yeah. Yeah, because they know I'm going to be noisy with spirit boxes and shit, and they can't provide that because they work for big corps. So we have big corporation tour companies around here.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And I'm stealing their business left and right. You can't touch me for the next 2 weeks. As far as getting on my tour, you can't get on. And I got that flea market coming up, and I'll probably sell out of May and June while I'm there.
Well.
And I work 6 nights a week.
That's a lot of work, bro.
Again, it's only 20 hours worth of work. Because I'm with you guys for 90 minutes, and I'm going through your data for 2 hours in the morning.
You're more than 90 minutes with us already.
So what, it's 2 hours?
Yeah. I don't see anything.
Nothing? Okay. I just kind of proving my theory of what happened here a couple weeks ago, though. I haven't really had a chance to come back up here because your group seems like they got a good handle on what the devices do. So I do want to follow up with Chapman, make sure nothing's going on.
All right.
I've gone never met, terrorized, and sweet.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you let him know that?
Not yet. You haven't?
I'm ready to go home. I am ready to go home. I'll say this thing.
There's mom and him.
What's up? Top and squat.
This is when the drunks start coming out. This is when the time for me to head home.
Yeah. Well, this is our last location.
I'm old enough to know when to say I'm out.
Yep, me too.
And this is about that time.
Yeah.
Nothing good happens after midnight.
It's not midnight.
Oh, close enough. What time is it though? Seriously.
Probably like
10:30.
Yeah.
Might as well be.
You got enough energy to get home?
How past my bedtime am I already?
2 hours.
2 hours?
3 hours. Yeah, 2. 2.5.
Grandpa Paul kept me from having a nap today. He just kept talking and talking and talking. I was like, Grandpa Paul, you gotta
Do it, man. I gotta get some.
you gotta stop talking, Grandpa Paul.
Dude,
Hold
but
that for a minute. He said he wants you to have that for the rest of the time.
got it.
So he told me.
Where am I? My radar is going cold now. Dude, an hour and 30 minutes. Bro, do you ever stop? Look how cold that is. 35 degrees.
If you put that thing way up in the air, one time I went down to -9 and I went straight up in the air.
I'm at 7, 6. I think you'll find some. Whoa, my bad on that. Oh, my bad on that guy. I would not like this job. Where? Look, I can come.
You know what I wonder? Look at that building. You see that peak in the brick?
Yeah.
That
Here's-
peak looks almost too perfect. That looks like it might have been a small building
Here's what he's talking about right there.
in the old roof line. Right? A small, and then they added on to it.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Because this bottom brick looks like it has a whole lot more mortar than anything around it. I wonder if that was a different building and they just squared it off. You don't see what I'm talking about?
I'm talking about this one right here to the left.
You see that peak?
Oh yeah.
What I'm wondering is, you see inside of that peak?
Yeah, it's a lot wider.
The mortar's thicker,
Yeah.
and up there it looks more symmetrical, thinner mortar. If that was like a separate building and then they just added on to that and then created like a, you know what I mean?
Maybe.
That thing split like a slid right down the middle.
I knew you were a welder guy. I didn't know you were a construction man too.
Well, boy, let me tell you something, boy.
I can see straight through your fat on this camera.
Dude, this place is calm with like
People.
ghost people.
They got like 30 people per tour. I can't believe we signed AJ Boye. Can't believe you don't know who he is.
I'm gonna have to look him up.
He played for Jacksonville.
What position?
Cornerback. It was AJ Boye
And then the guy
and Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, the guy went to
Yeah.
the Rams.
Then he went to the Broncos, and they cut him from the Broncos for cost, for cap space.
And we got one. That's, you know what? That's a good pickup then.
Yeah. We're gonna have a scary defense this year.
Quarterback still Teddy Bridgewater.
No, Sam Darnold.
They picked up Sam Darnold.
Where did Bridgewater go?
They let Bridgewater talk with their teams.
Yeah.
They gave him an option of what to do.
Nobody picked him up though yet.
He's only been able to talk.
You're gonna wait. For him, he won't sign any rules. Well, where's he gonna go?
He can go to the Bears.
I was just gonna say Chicago.
Yeah. Bears are gonna have all kinds of people.
Eagles.
Because didn't
Eagles. He can fight with Joe Flacco.
And Jalen Hurts though. He's not gonna. They're not gonna want 3 main guys.
True.
Jalen Hurts is gonna have the
A
position.
lot of the GMs now are like, screw the guys. Put them all in there. Let's have the best competition. Keep
Where's
no loyalty.
Where's Nick Foles go from Chicago?
He's still in Chicago.
Yeah.
Then where'd Mitch Trubisky go? Someone from Chicago left.
No.
I'm pretty sure. I'll search it up later.
All right. You gave up?
A little bit.
I'm gonna, because I have to grab them in order.
Oh.
So that's the first one, but I want to see if anybody heard anything first, kind of wrap this up. So we hear anything on a spirit box?
I got never met, sweet, and terrorized.
Terrorized. It's interesting. Very broad terms, nothing very specific. But we did get a specific word over there that I'm excited about. Which word did you get?
Slip.
Slip.
Yeah, slip.
Like a boat slip. So again, one of those, I'll see if something else pops up on the red spirit box. Did you hear anything while you were sitting over here? Okay,
sir.
again, those spirit boxes are not the easiest job in the world. So when you guys get your recordings back tomorrow, you're going to see it's a lot easier to listen when you have headphones or your phone or whatever. So again, trust me, the teenagers are going to be glued to this thing for a while because it's going to keep them occupied. So again, we kind of tested a theory of something that happened here a few weeks ago with me. We didn't get anything from that, so I don't know how much evidence I'm going to get out of this location. Pretty excited always about looking at Pinckney Mansion and this location. They're usually my 2 most active, but I always listen for little words about the stories that I told in between. So we'll kind of see what comes up out of it. Am I expecting a whole lot? We didn't see a whole lot in real time, I'll be honest. So again, I was doing some stretches for you. Last night, it was all night long that we were catching things in real time. And if you want to go back and look at the previous night, you can always see, like every night is different, so I can't make this stuff up. But when I do find stuff, you'll have the audio markers from both my regular, well, I don't listen to this guy, but that guy, the Red Spirit box, and then of course I'll give you a bunch of links from that kind of whatever I see on there. So I'm going to collect these devices. You guys can ask me a million questions if you want, and I'll get you guys my card so you can check out the website ahead of time. Otherwise, the 2 people that booked, you guys will get a text from me in the morning, and you'll be able to, visit it then. Thermal imaging camera first. The wife got me new cases. They only go in one way.